Over the years, Swami Tyagananda began to feel pressure from his sannyasin friends to get formally initiated into sannyasa. Swamiji repeatedly rebutted their arguments by expressing his belief that these samskaras or rites of initiation purify neither the body nor the mind. The self, being ever pure, requires no purification. But eventually, he yielded to the pressure of his well-wishers. He approached Srimad Janardanagiri Swami, who was the head of the Kailash Mutt, and according to His Holiness's directions, he completed the formal rites on the next Mahashivaratri day. Guruji gave him the name Swami Tapovanam, meaning a forest of austerities. Thus, all the formal rites of the Sri Shankara order were completed. But this had no impact on Swamiji's daily life. It continued as before. As the years passed, Swamiji developed a routine in his travels in the Himalayas. He stayed in Rishikesh during the winter months, and as the weather improved, he would move higher up to Uttarkashi, continuing his life of tapas there, living in a small thatched hut in front of which the sacred river Ganga flows. To the vast majority, Uttarkashi means Sri Tapovanji. Its name has become synonymous with his. Many masters and seekers would often be sitting there at his feet, drinking the highest knowledge of Vedanta that rained from his lips. From Uttarkashi, Swami Tapovan frequently visited sacred places in the higher altitudes of the Himalayas, living amidst nature for days, reveling in bliss. For instance, he would spend many days in meditation in the cave of Vyasa near Badri, where the great sage lived. He sat on the rock where Sri Gaudapada wrote his Mandukya Karika. He spent time in the Ganesha cave, where Sri Ganapati himself dwelt while transcribing the verses of the Mahabharata from sage Vyasa. It was at these places that Swamiji composed the famous Sri Badrisha Stotram, writing a few verses each day. When summer arrived, Swamiji would move further up to Gangotri to enjoy the solitude. The Himalayan cold was benumbing, but Swamiji would never miss the morning bath in the icy cold Ganges. This was always followed by the study of the scriptures and then meditation. In the evenings, he would take long walks, immersed in the divine beauty around him, always seeing the formless in all forms. Further up from Gangotri, 12 miles above in the Himalayas, is Gomukh. The cow's mouth, an ice cave from which flows a milky stream. At 13,000 feet above sea level, Gomukh is the mouth of the Gangotri glacier, which stretches for 30 kilometers. It is considered to be the source of the Ganga. The journey to Gomukh is so difficult that it takes the most ardent devotee to make this trip once in their lifetime. Swami Tapovan made this trip on a regular basis for 12 years. Unimaginable. Let us listen to his own experiences at Gomukh. It is impossible to express in words with what boundless faith and devotion I used to visit Mother Ganga as her own devotee, year after year. It was my custom to visit the mouth of the cave and bathe in the holy and ice-cold water again and again. My mind was filled with a supreme sense of elation while I sat in that hardly accessible spot, cooking and offering various prasad to Gomukhi Ganga. I used to sit, regardless of danger, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on a broad piece of rock quite close to the cave where the Ganga emerges from the snow. The experience was exhilarating. Tranquility is truth. Truth is beauty. Beauty is bliss. And bliss is divinity. This tranquility is the innate nature of all. And this seems to be the lesson preached to me by every particle of snow, every stone, each petal, each blade of grass. It is my thirst for this tranquility that drives me, despite the difficulties of travel, to reach that spot every year. 2 miles above Gomukha, between the two glaciers of Meru and Gangotri, is a great plain called Tapovanam. It is an extremely beautiful spot that captivates the mind by its natural charms. On several occasions, I used to visit the place and sit there for hours, enjoying the splendid spectacle around. My heart was filled with wonder as I sat watching the peaks of Shivalinga and the Bhagirathi dazzling in their silver radiance. In summarizing his book, Himagiri Vihar, Swami Tapovanam writes, "The main theme of this work, and the theme of all the Upanishads, is this: the Atman or Self, dwelling in the heart of all, also known as God or Brahman, is the cause of existence, sustenance and retraction of the universe. This Self, this Brahman, is unlimited by time and space, and without suffering any alteration of itself, it projects the universe from space downwards. This power of projection, called Maya, produces extraordinary variety called Prakriti, or the material cause of the universe. Therefore, the world which appears to consist of the 5 elements is none other than Brahman. The spiritual Jiva, or the I, in every living body is also none other than Brahman. And to revel uninterrupted in this state of knowledge of Brahman is the supreme goal of life. Whether it is on the peaks of the Himalayas, or on Mount Kailash, or on the shores of Manasarovar, I find the same perfect being, the same self-luminous thing, at all places, at all times, in all objects, and in all states. I see only that truth, and nothing else.